if they're more like me and they're like, yeah, systems, that sounds really good. I want it, but how? Where do I start?
Where do you start? Right. So the place that you often need to start is when you're working with teams and working with people in teams, and you're sort of 5-10 employees. At that stage of a business, there's lots of sort of crossover. There's lots of generalizations, and people do a little bit of marketing, a little bit of sales, a little bit of finance, and sort of these core operations and management. These are the sort of components of a corporate environment, a corporate company. But when you're doing that as a startup and there's like 3 or 4 of you, you're just sort of mucking in and just getting it done to be able to be successful. But what I love about being able to systemize things is when you start thinking about components of the business. So, for example, the finance. So you have to track and measure and sort of work out where your expenses are, what your costs are, what your income is, and how profitable it is, your lead acquisitions and things like all these things. If you're able to designate roles to people, even in smaller businesses, give them responsibility for certain things, that often elevates people because people feel that they've got things that they are responsible for. And as a delegate, when you're delegating, all you really want to do is empower your people to be the best that they can to serve the business and be able to make the business profitable and successful. So what we were able to do in our business, in our booking agency, and what you get at the other end with mature corporates is there's designated roles for people that need to be done. So we've got responsibilities for people with finance, we've got operations, we've got the people that are actually doing the account management side, and then we've got people working in marketing and sales that are doing that. And so when you're able to create...
Let me pause you just for a second and we get right back to where we are. How big is the Airbnb team? How big is the podcast booking agency?
Right, absolutely. So the Airbnb business team, there are 2 investors at the moment and we have a management team. So there's me. So because we're investing in London, that's my area of expertise, my area of specialism. So it is a small business that we're looking to be able to build up the Airbnbs we're now going on a heavy investment because property prices in London anyway have reduced. But the interesting bit about the Airbnb business, I've got Airbnbs that I own that I've turned into Airbnb. But something that we're exploring and we've just signed some contracts with people is what we call rent to service accommodation. So the landlord still owns the flat, the apartment, but we in a contract take ownership, take control of that property and then turn it into services accommodation. So it could be Airbnb, booking.com, or the other sort of platforms. So that's something that we are really trying to leverage at the moment because we see that. So we pay a guaranteed rent to the landlord, which is agreed in a contract. And then in the contract, it says that we're going to turn that property into an Airbnb. So what you then do, there's things you have to do with furnishing. So you have to make it in a hotel style. So there is an upfront cost and an investment into furnishing the property. But you get a 12-month contract. Sometimes it's a 24-month contract that you then take control of that. And then you pay the guaranteed rent and you take the profit on top of that. So for us, for that business, and when I was looking to do that for my own properties, I was so diligent to get an exceptional management team because I didn't want to be running the advertising, the marketing, the plumbers, if there's problems, the maintenance guys, the cleaners, the laundry, making sure the sheets are there. So for me, outsourcing that to a really good management company, and they are actually a very competitive price as well for the owner as well, was super important. So for us, it was able, like, I want to own the property and take the profit from the property, but sort of delegate to this really good management company. And I went through and I say interviewed, I talked to a lot of different companies of what the services that they provide. And I got to a super exceptional management company. And that then makes my investment a lot more smooth and a lot more, because they're actually the experts on doing this. They service all over England and focus on London and the southeast and London. And so for me, it was getting the right people in place. And whenever you're looking to create a business, it's super important to get the right people for the right roles. And for me, that was super important.